Ladies and gentlemen, it is time. Without any further ado, this man has been. I have received so much chatter and just encomia, panegyrics regarding this man, and the word always is, "I love Coach Colin. I love him. I'm telling you, I love him. He is loved, and you will find out now. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, the man, the myth, Coach Colin. Welcome, dear sir.
What's going on, man? Great to be here, sir. Thank you very much.
No. The thanks should be from me. Let me just get into background just a little bit. Oftentimes, we just find ourselves saying, "Oh, I like this person," and I really don't know that much about you. What are you able to say, and are you indeed a coach?
I was weird thing. I guess if you get into how the channel began, I was becoming like a life coach, like a life coach of sorts. And
Hmm.
I was in a coaching program, and we were talking about making declarations about who you are and stepping into who you are. And then I always take it a little too far. I'm like, YouTube channel, changing it right now, changing it to I am Coach Colin. Who cares? I only have 150 subscribers.
Right.
I'll change it whenever I want anyway. It's not like this channel's gonna blow up or anything's gonna happen like that. So who cares? Like, it sounds like a silly name. I'm like, whatever. I am Coach Colin. And then all of a sudden, 3 months into running the channel, I hit a 1 million viewed video, and I go from 160 subscribers to 5,000. To the next few days, it was 25,000.
Wow.
And then the next few days, it was 35,000. And then I was talking to people who were bigger creators, and they're like, "You can't change your name now. Like, you have to keep it like
Right.
that."
Well, what was the video that made you viral?
Funny enough, I was looking at some of your videos, and I saw one that you made recently about Agenda 2030. And it was kind of talking about that. It had to do with Jordan Peterson. He was on Joe Rogan. I remember it was like January 28th. He was on Joe Rogan, and he was talking about starting something to rival the WEF. And I was like, that is very interesting. This thing called ARC, where they, the way that Davos has discussions about how many people can eat bugs and what they should be doing with themselves and how everything's going to look for society. It was like a different type of thing where they were having like more productive, inclusive conversations towards society, not wanting them to eat bugs, things of that nature, allowing us to keep eating beef and things like that. And I thought it was really interesting that nobody was commenting on it, because I was watching a lot of Joe Rogan. Love Joe Rogan, as people know.
Yes.
And I was like, Joe Rogan didn't make a clip about this. I go to Jordan Peterson's page. I'm like, he didn't make a clip about this. I'm like, this is really weird. I'm like, okay, I'm going to make a clip about this, because I don't think people understand how important this type of conversation is, even if it didn't get off the ground, which ARC is still active. But even if it doesn't get off the ground, the conversation of starting things that rival the World Economic Forum is very important. So I just made that video, and it just took off, and it's 1 million views.
How many times have you heard this from somebody? Excuse me, the what? The world, what? I mean, is that wrestling? Is that Vince McMahon or Agenda? What the hell are you talking about? Eating bugs? And you think to yourself, where have they been? Why do I know this? And you know this. How many times has that happened to you?
Oh man, countless times. I mean, thank God for the YouTube audience.
Yes.
But I mean, outside of that, in regular society, you just get the stare. They don't know what that is.
Right.
They don't know. You try to talk about like how bad the conversations they're having are, and they just don't really get it at all. You really have to be, I don't know, in the online to really understand how bad these conversations are that they're having,
Well, you are now a member of my conspiratorium, which this is what I call it. I don't even know. And I've been doing this now for so long. I'm just used to it. And put it this way, I was conspiracy theory before anybody knew what it was. But let's get down to the real brass tacks here. The story right now, which I'm always trying to explain, is Candace, Erica, Charlie, and every iteration manifestation of it. Just when I think, Coach, I think that's it. We've exhausted it. We've hit the wall. Nothing more to say. Wrong. Isn't it amazing? Explain that to me.
Explain it to you. Oh my gosh. I was hoping someone like you could explain it to me. I don't understand how it keeps happening over and over again. You know, Candace has offered herself up to be PR. Barron has offered himself up to be representation, PR, you know, get things in line for them. I don't understand how it keeps happening. I mean, it's the weirdest thing. You know, just Erica sitting down and giving that speech. You know, a lot of people have forgot about the speech where she's dressed like the assassin. She's dressed like Tyler Robinson, basically. And so many people have forgotten about that, but it's like, how did that happen? How did they think that was the thing to do? Why do they keep on doing stuff like that? Recently, I saw another video recently. I haven't even got to watch it. I was supposed to cover it today, but we just got too caught up in, you know, a bunch of weird Officer Tatum stuff. But apparently they're now saying, if you want to get to Erica, you got to go through us. Like Andrew and Blake were like, you have to go through us if you want to get to Erica. And it's like, what are you talking? Who's telling you to do this?
Who wants to get to her? Forget going through him. Who the hell wants to talk to her? I mean, that would be my dream. I'm an old NWA wrestling fan. Lights out match, battle royal, for charity, for the marbles, in the octagon, Candace against Erica. 90 minutes, no referee, no tap out, no DQ. Can you just stop for 1 second? Can you imagine that? Can you imagine Erica's look where she starts? It's like, you know, when she started going for this, they put that down. Oh, stop it. Answer my question. I would give anything for that. So many. Let's just play word association. But first of all, you're so right. Why didn't somebody say, listen, Erica, God love you. You're killing TPUSA. Every time you open your mouth, we got to answer this. Sit out. You're a grieving mother, a widow. You've got kids. It's okay. Give it 6 weeks. See if we get back on staff. Just go away. And Ben Shapiro. Whoever said Ben Shapiro? Now that's a spokesman. He pulled people in. He's warm. He's help me, Coach.
He's warm. Ben Shapiro. He's warm. I was covering Ben Shapiro today. Somebody was like, does Ben ever smile? And I'm like, I don't actually know. I don't actually think I've seen that before. To be honest, even when he sits with BB, who's like his idol and he absolutely loves, I haven't seen him really smile that much. I don't know, man. And here's the thing when it comes to her being CEO, right? It's not the fact that it's not like she stepped in. It's not like she bullied her way in, right? Tyler, Andrew, the whole inner circle gang, right? The Turning Point boys, the Zio Rangers, they could have all came together and been like, listen, we're going to co-CEO. You know, Tyler's going to be on this. He's already operations. He knows this. Andrew's been next to Charlie for the longest time. Mikey will be there behind us. We can handle the CEO role. And you can just be. You can just be. We know Charlie was evangelical. We know he was a conservative Christian man. We know he would love to have you at home. We know 100%. Why didn't they do that? That I wonder a lot about. Why didn't they make sure to push her out of the limelight? They made sure to pull her into the limelight more than anything. Really odd.
Or to sit back and say, now listen, couple of things. This is called grief. Learn it. Watch it. Let's watch some movies. Second of all, when you go to a funeral or something, don't wear gold lame. Don't have sparklers. That's happy talk. That's Chuck E. Cheese. This isn't. Be more funereal. Be more, you know what I mean? And also, if you could, wait a couple of days until you get these poor kids, Coach, 20-some years old, to go, I just lost Charlie. And she says, hi, guys. How are you? She's doing like a Jerry Lewis, like a, let's go. Let's get that merch going. Come on. You go, don't cry. Crying for me. Yeah, he's dead. He says, okay, now let's move. You know, coffee's for closers. Let's go.
Coffees for closers. These are some great references. Jerry Lewis. I hope your audience knows who Jerry Lewis is. Now, that's gold.
Now, where were you? Let me ask you, what was your red pill moment? I didn't know who this woman was. Didn't know who she was. Felt bad until I saw her lying across the body, the corpse of her husband to get that shot. Should I move in? I thought, I'm not. Did you feel the same way?
Kissing the mannequin hands. Yeah, that was a moment. That was definitely a moment. That was weird. Listen, I've been sporting a tinfoil Speedo for a very long time. Okay, so here was my first thought. She gave the first speech. Okay, because I've already seen her before. I've seen Charlie do interviews with her. Okay, this is where I'm at. Okay, and I used to do this with Biden as well. I'm a person who used to look at Biden's earlobes. Okay, sometimes the earlobes were attached, some they were detached. Sometimes he was 6'1", sometimes he was 6'7". So this is where I'm at. The first speech I saw, I went, "Is that her? Is that actually her?" I was like, "Huh." This is how conspiratorial I get. I was like, "Is this actually her?" But either way, I was like, okay, you know, great speech. Like, I get it. Like they're really standing up to the left, you know? Then I saw the memorial, which I couldn't even watch in total. And I can watch long things repeatedly. It's like part of the job. I watch a lot of long form content. It's no problem for me. This I couldn't watch. When I saw her, I couldn't get through what it was. It didn't really make sense to me. Memorial, my dad's passed away. I know what the memorial looked like. I understand how somber it's supposed to be. For the entire administration to be there, like the key guys of the administration, that didn't make much sense to me. No friends, that didn't make much sense. No parents, that didn't make much sense. The whole thing just seemed very, very weird. And then I saw the pyrotechnics going off and everything. I was like, oh man. But the last thing was Erica, when she looked up and she said, I forgive him. And then she looked down. I was like, that's very, like, I didn't want to judge her. I wasn't judging her at that time. I wasn't making videos talking about her or anything at that time. But I was like, man, that seems planned. I don't know. That seems really acted out. That didn't seem like a real genuine moment, you know? Even the applause break that came almost seemed like there was a sign that went applause, the same way they have at the late night shows, you know? So that right there was a lot for me. And then, you know, just as time went on, it just, I don't know, you kept on seeing it. I was making videos. I wasn't making videos about her. I was watching Candace. I'm in the chats. I see people saying, why isn't Candace talking about Erica? Erica's an actor. I remember the Jesse Waters interview happened.
Yeah.
And I did some videos on that. And people, especially women, were like, she's an actor. This is
yes.
This is gross. The women picked it up right away. And
it's funny. Listen, I don't want to. I've been all over that so many times, and I have different. I don't want to go my theories or hypotheses about this, because I think women, by virtue of the fact that nature has provided with them, they're a kind of a BS detector.
Yep.
As they have been selected to basically, for the most part, take care of the brood. So they have to be like this. They have to say, that's weird. I don't trust this one. Get away. Men are more like, how are you? You know, we're just walking around and it is their nature. And also, I think so many women, I hate to say this, have been betrayed by other women that they know a bullshit artist better than anybody else. Yeah. But aside from that, it never stopped. And immediately after and I knew she was going to forgive, but then right off the bat, she says this, give me that speedy trial motion. You got that? Jerry, you got the CP? Let's get this thing going. Come on. You know, railroad him, get him out. Tyler, who? Get rid of him. But I forgive you as they park your ass off to the big house. I mean, inconsistent.
I forgive you, but I also want you dead immediately. Okay. Right. I want you close to Jesus. This is how much I forgive you. This is how much I care about you. I want you to help make heaven crowded again. You know that?
Yes. In fact, if Jesus spoke like Erica would be, do unto others. Well, for the most part, it's like, wait a minute, this is not, excuse me, cut. Jesus, I don't want to tell you your business, but that's not a message. All right. Tyler Robinson, guilty or not? Answer. You have 10 seconds.
Me? Man, I was going to ask you what you see with Tyler Robinson. I would say that, hold on. Do I think he's guilty, or do I think he's going to be ruled as not guilty or guilty?
Any way you want to answer it. Did he have, do you think in your heart of hearts, if I
don't think he took the shot.
3 a.m, do you think it's like, if I said, Coach, what is it? You think he did it? When you're the most honest? No.
I would say no. I would say no, because I am conservative, but I'm not like these conservatives that we see popping up nowadays, where I'd rather just see some guy die just for the sake of it. I'd rather say no. I don't know that he took the shot. I don't know that he took that shot. It's very possible, especially when you go through, there's some video breakdowns I've seen from Valhalla VFT and other people. Obviously everybody knows about the microphone theory, but I mean, if we're talking about a shot going off, I think there's a potential that someone else took a shot from somewhere else.
Yes.
I think there's a potential.
In fact, one of the things, as a former prosecutor and as a lawyer, this is called the unwitting conspirator. It's like, well, here I am. I don't know exactly what I'm supposed to do here. What was that?
Yes.
Yes. Think it's me. Wait a minute. Hold it. I'm at a Dairy Queen. What the hell's going on here? Wait. Patsy. Just like Lee Harvey Oswald. This guy went from like 6 floors, wasn't even out of breath. I mean, I don't want to go through that again, but this is like, what? Patsy. Remember Paddock, that dude, that feller in Las Vegas? He had an arsenal. He had, just to pull the ammunition up, he would have needed a Teamsters,
Skids.
Then, what did you think the other night about the White House Correspondents' Dinner? What about that one? The only one, everybody's like this. Hey, this is great. You want the wine? They're grabbing the wine. They're underneath, taking their Cash Patel is. Cash Patel is waiting for his Uber. Cash Patel says, where's my girlfriend? She's my girlfriend, I'm getting laid. Anyway, so there's Cash. Everybody's kind of like, they're back at the White House. Like, what the hell was that about? The only person, I want to just go home, who was allowed to leave a crime scene. Everybody says, nobody move except for her. Coach, come on. I keep trying I don't want to be like this. Even that's phony.
You like you just said, crime scene, she's allowed to leave. Why is she allowed to leave? Is that, as an attorney, you've been an attorney for quite some time, I would imagine, right?
Yeah.
So is that out of the ordinary that she is able to leave that way? Yeah.
Yes. I mean, you want to secure it. You don't want doors open and people leaving. Wait. We want to account for everybody who's there. Just stay right there. You're in no. Now, people, of course, are going to say this was, PTSD and that sort of thing. So give me some other anomalies. Let's just don't wait for my question. Just, first of all, the role of Candace, I submit, dear sir, that she is the most powerful person today, maybe in a non-elected official. There are people on YouTube who might have more followers or more viewers, and that's fine. Of course. Powerful. She is. I mean, if she says, storm the Bastille, no, people would say, yes. What the hell's a Bastille? But yes, I'm with you. Do you agree? Is there anybody who is?
I've been saying it for a long time. I'm very much a nerd. You might actually know this person. It was the first interviewer that I was like, and first real podcaster, I think, because he was podcasting without it being called a podcast. James Lipton, Inside the Actors Studio.
Oh, yeah. I've interviewed him. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You've interviewed him?
Oh, yes.
You've spoken to James Lipton?
Absolutely.
Yep. Oh, my God.
It was a book he wrote. It was at the time when he would ask the 4 questions. If you're in heaven, what do you want to hear God say? That. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, my God. He is my favorite interviewer. He's
Why?
The first person because he would look at Tom Cruise and say, do you know what your family crest says? from the 1700s.
Right.
Tom Cruise would be like, I didn't know I had a family crest. And he'd be
Or
like,
had
well,
a
let's
family.
put a family crest
Right.
and show him the family crest. He was the first person to give Dave Chappelle a proper audience, not this
Yes.
weird temperature check like Oprah
Yes.
did. He was on the chat. He gave him a real audience, and the audience waited for hours.
I
for
was just
Dave
going to
Chappelle
say that.
arrive.
It was a special when he said, look, I'll do it, but it's like 3 a.m. He said, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And
he
here are
let Dave
two people.
smoke. I mean, it was just incredible. The things that Jaden Lipton has done in interviews are incredible. When
Did you
hear
know
him
that?
talk with, sorry, go ahead.
No. Did you know that Lipton was a Mac daddy? I think in France, which is tantamount to a pimp. He would actually arrange. Oh yeah, he was. Oh yeah, he had what a background he's had.
Wow.
Oh, that was one of a kind.
Wow.
But anyway, as far as Candace goes,
oh my God.
I think I hope she never runs for office, but I mean, she is the most powerful person, bar none. Number 2, close second is Tucker. Close second.
I would say, I say it all the time. I'm very much an interview nerd, podcast nerd. I've been very into it for a long time before I even got in front of a microphone. And I often say she is the Stanley Kubrick of podcasting. She is the Kubrick of podcasting. I say that because notoriously, or whatever, Goodfellas, Martin Scorsese. Martin Scorsese. He said one time, he goes, when Stanley Kubrick, this is Martin Scorsese. He says, when Stanley Kubrick makes a movie, it's time for us all to sit down and learn. Right. And that is exactly what you should be doing. I know this sounds very nerdy to anybody who doesn't understand. If you are a podcaster, if you are a creator, when she makes a podcast, when she does a series, when she makes a trailer for the series, you should be sitting down and learning. You should be learning what she's doing. I have been watching what she does, and it is masterful. The holding on to information, the not being able to sit, the whole Mikey McCoy little bit that she had.
Right.
For months, she's been sitting on that.
Right.
To be able to sit on information for this long, to be able to parse it out. It's like a book. When you watch Candace, it's like a book. You can't watch chapter 2 and then not watch chapter 3, 4, 5, and 6. No, you have to watch every single chapter. You have
know
to
what you do?
Sure. What do I do?
You know what makes you good?
Me. Yeah.
This might be a little bit esoteric. I've been doing, this is kind of like talk radio, kind of sort of, because remember, you're not really interviewing and she's not interviewing. It's different. It's not interviewing is like interrogation. Interviewing also, you need a really great guest. Because if you've got Tom Cruise, you could ask him anything. Look at Larry King. He never said anything. He just let people talk, which is a way to do it. But when talk radio, when I started, it was during the time of Rush Limbaugh. It's like 38 years ago, 1988.
Wow.
And there's a couple of things that was interesting. Number one, they like you. You could take all the stuff you want. People say, I don't like this guy. I'm not connecting. There were some people who were a real jerk, and sometimes, but people loved him. Michael Savage. There was a guy named Bob Grant. This guy was great. They loved this guy. Rush Limbaugh. They loved him. I mean, they loved him. But they like you. You're their friend. Number 2, and this is the most important, you make people feel like you're talking to them, not that you're broadcasting. I feel like I'm talking to you, you're talking to me. And I feel like I'm welcome. It's very warm. And there's something about your setup, but I'm just not blowing smoke up your arse. I'm telling you the truth. It's like macaroni and cheese. Why is it so great? I don't know. It just is. And that's what you are. You just are. Try doing what you do. Take a script of what you say and say, go ahead, try it. Say what he says. Doesn't work. Yeah. It's very relaxed. And it's almost like you do your thing. By the way, the bun, what's the bun for battle or what's that thing?
The battle bun, yes.
A chignon. Anyway, but there you are. But that's your thing. And the real good ones kind of like, well, because some people figure, I can just do this. I'll just throw clips at people. It's like, no, a little bit more than that. So you've got that. Plus people love you. And this is one of those stories. This is professional wrestling, which is I loved in the 60s and 70s. And I also, this is maybe at the time before your time, Dallas, Falcon Crest, Knots Landing, soap operas. It's like, and now where we just left off, here's Erica. Erica is the only phony out there that we really know. Meghan Markle, Even put it this way, she gives the whole Kardashians substance compared to her. At least you could say, well, that's kind of the way they are. I believe nothing Erica says. Nothing.
Yeah.
And she told me the weather, the time. I'm saying, so this is the greatest thing ever. And people are so you're the conduit. You're bringing people in. You say, get a load of this. This is the most incredible story there is. So you're very good. So kudos to you, young man.
Thank you very much. That is very interesting. I've never heard that from the outside like that. I've never thought of that before. So thank you very much. I will keep that in mind as I go forward.
So what's happening right now? First of all, if you had to explain to somebody what is the main motivation behind it, because don't you think that the person who's always forgotten this is Charlie Kirk? And I think somebody needs to talk to him and say, excuse me, I'm not forgetting the fact that this young man was shot down like a dog in the prime of his life. And I don't appreciate this. Forget Candace and everybody else for a moment. It's Charlie. Who speaks for him? I got to get to the bottom of this thing. He's not even, nobody even talks about him. It's Erica and these other people. And it breaks my heart.
It's very, very weird. It's very, very weird the way that they handle it, because they do talk about him, but they talk about him in linkage to their agenda. And that makes it even sadder when you can actually see that. It's heartwarming if you can't see it. If you're blind to it, it's actually heartwarming because they're talking about Charlie and they're saying their points and they're trying to exude this somber type of feeling to you. But when you can actually pick up on the manipulation, it gets pretty sad. And that's why you're seeing so many students step down from their positions and dissolve their chapters.
Where are his parents? I did one today, which there's some great stuff. There's a young lady, Fredo, who did this. What was tremendous about it's like the parents is like, wait a minute, where are they? Erica never even mentions them in passing. She's talking to Sean Hannity. Said, I want to thank you. I want to thank you. I want to thank you for you. You have been there. They've been there my ass. What are you talking about? These are his parents.
Yeah.
And his sister. They're not even mentioned. There's nowhere to be found. And you tell me that Harris Faulkner provides more of a warmth center? I mean, come on. And they're absolutely right. Somebody's got to speak up for this, like these poor people. And where is he buried?
Yeah. There's a whole bunch that you can touch on when it comes to where he's buried. I mean, there's also there's a bunch of like occult theories of where he's buried and, certain rituals that had to happen. And maybe he's like, scattered a little bit. There's that. But then when you get to the parents, I don't know where they are. And I would think that what we're seeing with her not mentioning them not being in the spotlight, them not being at the memorial, I feel like if they really liked what the memorial was about, then they would have been there.
Yeah.
Because why not? It was just a room filled with people that, were gathering for their son. It would be a great thing to see. If you really liked it, to stand back and look at this whole place just filled and they're chanting his name and his pictures there. It would be an incredible thing to see. It's a very sad thing because no parent wants to be burying their child. But if they really liked it, I feel like they would have been there. I feel like if they really liked her too, if they really felt like she was a daughter, that's how my wife and her parents are with me. They like, I'm one of theirs. That's how my mom is with my wife.
Right. But also
they would be there.
But she would have also, it would have been you would have said, listen, I'm standing next to you, whether you like it or not. Erica was said, I'm standing next to you. I mean, there's this, the symbology and the, the semiotics and the way you do it. Everybody remembers when Jackie Kennedy had the veil, this standing next to her kids and John salutes. I mean, and it wasn't just for performative reasons. It was a symbol. We're together. This is a moment. There's something very strange. Either one of two things. Either they said, I am not going to stand there next to you, or you're not going to let me stand next to you. It was very, very odd. Keep in mind something too. He was shot down by something gushing. I don't want to go into too much detail. He didn't have a heart attack. This wasn't an aneurysm. This was a violent, this is to many people, young people, this is their JFK and Bobby Kennedy.
Of course.
This is their Martin, this is MLK, this is everything. They're John Lennon, you name it. And they're not used to this. And instead of Erica maybe saying, you know what, I'm worried about our TPUSA family. If you need grief counselors, if you want time off, whatever, I'm worried about you. Oh no. How about that poor girl they fired right away because she heard through an Uber driver? I mean, this would be her time to say, oh no, this isn't about me. I want to help these people. And by the way, if you remember when Mr. Rogers died, the USA Today said, if your kids have a hard time with this, that really, you would think if she just put others first, they would love Erica, love her. This isn't about me. I'm worried about you. We all lost something. Oh no, it was about her. Stop. Stop.
It's but also in the Zoom call, she did make it more about them. Like it was like the Zoom call was, I believe it was, I want to say 5 days later. Some people say 11 days later. But that Zoom call, she did make it more about them, but not in a good way. Like you're
them selling merchandise.
Well, selling merchandise and all. It was like, listen, she even said, she's like, listen, my husband, not to be morbid, but my husband's dead. And she said that. Yeah, that's direct. She was like, not to be morbid, my husband's dead. And if you guys need anything, like it was just like, but shouldn't you be collapsed somewhere? Shouldn't you be like broken somewhere? And it's again, like, I hate to even think about it, but it's like everybody who's married goes straight to what if something happened to their person, and it would be terrifying. And it would be extremely hard to bounce back, and it would just be terrible.
Right.
And she didn't have that. She didn't have any of that. It's very weird. It's very, very weird. It's bizarre to a point where I almost go, is there's like some kind of compartmentalizing that's been done through like MK or something like that. It's very weird. Very weird. The way that
I'm glad you okay, now we're talking. Now we're getting somewhere. Now we're cooking on gas. A couple of things here. First, which you bring up a very good point. This is a woman who fancies herself an actress, a performer. She is, interesting, did you know Peter Sellers never had a voice? Nobody ever knew his accent. His accent was whoever he was talking to. There was no Peter Sellers. Didn't exist. People said, even his voice changed. They couldn't tell where he was from because he literally was not there. She started off in various iterations of who she was. She was the young person. She was this. She was the beauty, hey, and that didn't work out. And then she did her sizzle reel for the reality show. And she didn't date, but she did date. She didn't drink, but she did drink. And then that didn't work. And then later on, she was recruited, and the first time in the history of humanity, recruited for a beauty pageant. She says, I had no idea. She had been through others as well. That's a lie. There is no there. And then later on, that didn't work. Laurie Franz, her mother, says, look, we got to get you a gig. How about doing an industrial for EMPs? What the hell is that? It's electric. Just do it. You're going to be doing something with the CIA. Okay. That didn't work. Then you're going to be a real estate big shot with Corcoran Realty, biggest in New York City. That didn't work. Then you're going to go into, of all things, orphanages in Romania. That really didn't work. Get out. I mean, so I don't know where these kids are.
Or it did work. Or the Romanian thing did work, even more terrifyingly. Right.
Well, yeah, right. But I mean, but that's not what you want on your CV. So she was trying to find something. It's like somebody's got to get. She's like Fredo, like, I'm smart. We're going to get you a job. Then came Charlie. And she, like Peter Sellers, I'll do whatever you want me to do.
Mm-hmm.
Would be the Christian, I got it. I'll just say, never says Jesus, says the Lord. And I'll do this. And I'll bet you, old Charlie, bless his heart, never was experienced with a lot of women. And she rocked his world. You know what I'm talking about. She says, I'm going to show this podunk guy a few things. I'm going to show you the Wahito hold. I'm going to give you a Cleveland necktie, and you're not going to know what to do. I'm going to give you a headboard coma. And I'm telling you, turn your head and cough, buddy. Watch this. Round two.
Turn your head and cough. Oh, my God.
Brace yourself, Bridget. Let me tell you something. I mean, he didn't know what hit him. And she just moved in and he was there. And then later on, didn't you hear? There were all kinds of talks about him talking to somebody like, I don't know, maybe I should be talking to somebody about it. Maybe a lawyer. You hear a lot of stuff. He was unhappy with, from what we hear, what was happening to TPUSA. He wanted to doge it. He was just, and lo and behold, that problem corrected himself. Wow. What sayeth you, sir?
Wow. That was a lot.
Yeah.
The headboard coma was a whole bunch. But yeah, you're right about that. When it comes to her, very much a chameleon. That's why I've compared her to Kamala Harris so many times. Kamala's in front of an Italian crowd. She's like, oh, she's in front of a black crowd. She's like, what up, y'all?
Right.
It's just continuous that way. That is very much what Erica's like. Also, you forgot there was a time where she was trying to do the like Hollywood interview of people as well. She was doing that little thing where she was trying to get into Hollywood because that's like entry level to like access, quite literally access Hollywood. So she tried that. But I mean, when you bring up Charlie and him possibly being unhappy, as soon as you said that, I started thinking of, if you can remember, if you watched it, the Ben Shapiro interview that he did, right? Before he passed away. I think it was a day before. So he sits down with Ben Shapiro, and you can tell when you watch this interview, it's like they hate each other. That's what it's like. It's like if Gavin Newsom and the president had to sit down and do an interview and someone said, be nice. Both of you have to be nice.
Right.
That was the type of energy that was behind them. Charlie was saying things like, does this little place in the Middle East are they really being honest about what's going on there in the media? I don't know. I've just been conditioned to ask more questions. He actually says this to Ben Shapiro. I've been conditioned to ask more questions nowadays. And he's looking at him. He's looking at Ben Shapiro as he's saying it like, yeah, that's where we're at, buddy. And Ben Shapiro's looking at him like, oh yeah, that's how you're talking now. It's very weird. Now we found out from Andrew himself when he did the New York Times interview that he arranged that interview, and Charlie was upset that he arranged that interview. Charlie didn't like that interview, and you can tell when you watch it. Now, that same energy that Charlie was presenting when he was on Megyn Kelly, when he was with Ben Shapiro, when he's talking about people questioning his morality, he pulls out his phone, people are sending me text messages. I start to think maybe he was presenting that same energy to the inner circle and they're just not talking about it. Maybe the whole Doge thing, when he says, hey, I want, make sure we don't call it an audit. We have to call it an effort.
Yeah, right.
Doge effort. Maybe when he was presenting that and he calls in Justin Strife and he says, we're going to do this whole Doge-like thing, maybe that was his FU to them. Like, hey guys, I know something's going on and I'm not going to be along with it. I'm going to find out about it. When I find out about it, I'm going to do what a founder and CEO gets to do in those situations. I'm going to figure out where this money's coming from and I'm going to figure out where it's going. And if it's going to a place in the Middle East or it's coming from a little place in the Middle East, like, you'll see what I'm going to do about this whole thing. I think he was probably presenting that same energy he was presenting with Ben Shapiro to his inner circle. And none of them are ever going to talk about it. None of them. Tyler's never going to say a word. Andrew's never going to say a word. The only person that did, we found out from Candace, was Mikey McCoy. Mikey McCoy said you should look into Andrew. Now, we don't know what else Mikey said.
Can you believe this?
For all we know, Candace is sitting on something else that Mikey said, and she won't tell us for another 4 months. I don't know.
Well,
so
these are these festering rats. They're just they don't, put it this way, they don't have any balls. They don't have any guts. Let me tell you something. If you ever come to New York, I'm going to take you to a few places, and I'm going to take you to a few places. You're going to walk in right around. You're going to walk in right away and say, I think I know what kind of place this is. Yeah. And you'll meet some really tough people and you'll see what, I'm not suggesting any particular organized crime problem. I'm just saying some really scary, tough people who really know the business. Yeah. And I would love them because that's what Charlie needs. He's got a bunch of these sniveling little twits, these little children, these atesticular, these invertebrates. I don't know who they are. They're weird. If I had to listen, I don't want to go DEI on anybody, okay? But is there anybody there who's even not marginally blanched, who looks like he's from the country club or something, named Tad, or somebody who wears topsiders and pink pants? Who are these people? They're like, I don't even know what they are. They're the strangest. How is this supposed to connect with people? Charlie was just a regular guy.
Yeah. Charlie was the blackest one out of all of them, for sure.
Well, and I, again, I'm thinking to myself, I just don't understand. There were people, hell, he's talking, and how Charlie would go, he talked to everybody, people who were quadrisexual, they'll do anything for a quarter, anything you can imagine. I'm trans, I'm this, I'm that, I got purple hair, and he would talk to him, and then he turns around and goes, look at my board of directors. Who are these people? What is this? This is a country club. So anyway, that aside, there's nobody there who's tough. And then they sit there blaspheming in this heresy by appearing on the Charlie Kirk show, and they talk about themselves the whole time and never talk about Charlie, about how because they're figuring out, what do we do here? They need an adult. That thing is so gone. For the record, I don't think she had anything to do with anything, because anybody who would ever let this nincompoop know anything, anything, you would listen. Eric, I want you to know what's going to happen. Don't stand to the left of, and all these people behind him. Okay, we got this. Third base coaches. What are they having, a heart attack? If I told you, hey, Colin, listen, do me a favor. I want you to stand behind Charlie and give him the signal. What? Yeah, stand behind him. Wait a minute. Stand behind. What if it's a rifle? I don't know. I'm not sure, but give the signal. I don't buy this signal stuff, too, because the last place I would do is, I'm not going to be anywhere near this. I'll be giving the signal on a walkie-talkie in a truck. None of it makes any sense. How about the fact that they paved over the crime scene?
Yeah, very quick, too. Very quick. And they lied about it. They said that it was planned beforehand. And in actuality, the text messages, someone did, I guess I'll just say for sake of conversation, it was like a FOIA. They made a request for information, and they got the text messages, and they actually saw that the person from UVU contacted this certain landscape company. That company had to reach out to some guys, and they got it done on the fly, like very quick. It was short notice. It was not, this has been planned out for weeks and hey, this is the job. It was very short notice, and they had to get it done in like 48 hours. So it doesn't line up with them at first.
Nobody called up Barney Fife from the UVU and say, hey, listen, do you mind if we pave over a crime scene? This is what happened with JFK. They cleaned the car immediately. They replaced the front. They replaced the windshield with a bullet hole in it from the front. They sent it to a Ford plant to have the windshield replaced so they could use the car. I mean, it's so blatant. This is what I'm used to. And most people are like this. They're walking around. I guess their CBDs or whatever, their psychotropics haven't kicked in yet. How about this one? They said, it's the weirdest thing. The dogs, the dogs that smell for guns, they can smell a fish fart normally. And they didn't even smell the gun until the FBI found it. You know why they didn't find the gun? Because they didn't shoot the gun. The gun didn't shoot anything. It wasn't fired since the late 30s. I said, what are you talking about? And they found Tyler's fingerprints and DNA. It's his gun with 5 other people.
That's very, it's pretty wild. It's pretty wild, everything that's gone then. That's why I say, I think there's a chance that he didn't fire it. But again, when we do talk about MK, when we touch on MK and what it is, and then we also just touch on the psychological ability. This is a real thing. This is not me. This is not tinfoil stuff at all. This is really what they work on. And you can check it. Just go look it up. The implanting of memories. This is a real thing. They can very much implant memories into people. So I don't know what it is that he remembers. I don't know if there was something done to him. I want to know more about the background of the guy that actually brought him in. I've had some people bringing me tips. They think the guy was a spook of sorts. which is why he didn't want to be mentioned at all. So I would love to know more about his background before he was just Washington County Sheriff and then retired. I would love to know what he was doing beforehand, and why there's no footage of him actually bringing Tyler in as they claim he did. I really do think that there is a case to be made. And I know it's an odd case when it comes to MK. I think that's a real thing that people can pull off. And when you look into Lance, I don't know how much you've looking into Lance Twiggs you've done, but when you look into him, I find a lot of mirroring with Charles Manson when it comes to Lance.
You bring up a lot of things here. First and foremost, MK, let's talk this MK Ultra. This is from the days of Gottlieb. This is all, it's not what you think. It's not necessarily drugs or Manchurian Candidate. Yeah, that's one way, but it also can be triggered. There can be a lot of things where you can be, in essence, conditioned, or I've got even one better. If I'm with Intel, if I say, listen, Colin, what do you need? Listen, I got to get somebody there who's going to take the blame. Well, what do you need? Well, I need just write your order down. I want a white supremacist. Okay. Somebody who's got a big face. You want a Facebook. Okay. What else do you want? Aryan, you want white power? Okay. I got it. Name it. I got them all for you. We've been recruiting these people. The FBI always recruits these people. There was a group of people called the Lackawanna Six. These like black terrorists. They met at a Holiday Inn Express. I swear to God. And the leader said, "We just want artillery." I mean, these people were out of their minds. And they said, "Okay, they'll do." We had a guy one time that the FBI, they called him the Times Square bomber. He wasn't a bomber. They found a propane tank and an M80 in his van, and they called him the Times Square bomber. He was some guy they got from, they've got him all over the place. They don't, and once they tell you that's the person with a Middle East name or nothing, the press just fills in the blanks. It's not even MK Ultra. It's just some schmuck they bring there. But what about this? Did he or did he not confess? No. His parents said, "Listen, kid, you better turn yourself in." Why? Because you're going to wake up and want all these red dots on your chest, and they're going to take you out. And he, remember, and I think Barron or somebody else noted these two different discrepancies in the storyline.
Yes.
Version one was going to be, "I'm not going to be taken, top of the world, ma, and they're going to, take me out, self-harm by cops." The other one was, no, the way it really happened, where he just said, "I'm going to turn myself in," but never confessed. I Mirandized him and he never confessed. You turned yourself in. So the narrative didn't work. So all of the stuff that was already put in place had to be kind of readapted. I mean, it was a mess. Whoever pulled this off didn't know what they were doing.
Interesting. I don't know. I really do. I'm into thought exercises, but one that does stick with me is the MK thing. And you're right. They do recruit these guys, but they also, because a lot of times when people hear MK, they think Clockwork Orange and they think somebody has their eyes like stretched.
No, right.
Doing that whole thing. It evolved past that. That was the first years where they were kind of dosing Johns inside of, strip gloves of the glass and they could see through and, testing things on people and trying that whole thing. They did a lot. I've done whole breakdowns on it. Me and my wife did like a mini doc on it. So it's like what they did at the beginning was terrifying. Are they still doing that? Who knows? They say
look, they got Whitey Bulger. They got Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber. They did a lot of other people. But that's not even it. What I'm telling you, it's even simpler. It's even simpler.
It could be definitely. It could be simpler. But I do gravitate towards that simply because of what Lance was like. Because when we go over to Manson, this is why I brought Manson up, is because he has a connection to MK. He was having that done to him, and then he was let loose and able to do the same type of thing to other people.
But by the way, he had nothing to do, believe it or not, you've read Chaos, Upright the Chaos. He had nothing to do with Tate and all that stuff. That was nonsense because Bugliosi was a psychopath. That's another one. Who dares question Charles Manson? He just looks guilty, and people hate revising history.
I read Weird Scenes at Laurel Canyon. I went deep into that book where I had my realizations or, learning about Manson, because Manson was also, if you go into weird scenes of Laurel Canyon, Manson was involved along with all of the who's who of rock and roll within Laurel Canyon. It wasn't just rock and roll stars that they took. They also had Manson working alongside these people. That's why he was getting let go, and it was above people's pay grade and all these different things. But again, I just see a lot of mirroring between him, his sketches, his intelligence, although he seemed crazy. Same thing with Lance, this intelligence, although he seems crazy. If you look at the scribbling and little things that Manson would write out and you put it right beside the things that Lance would actually scribble, due to what we found through Turkey Tom's research. He's a creator on YouTube. If you see it, it's very, very similar. And it just makes me wonder. I can't say, I'm not saying Lance did this, but it makes me think sometimes, because I do know that right now, this is a pretty good phone, right? And if you think of this like MK Ultra, when the phones first started, they were pretty big. When computers first started, they were pretty big. I remember my dad working in computers, talking about hard drives that weighed pounds, that you had to really have some grit to you to pick them up. If everything's evolved, then I think they're probably at the iPhone 20 Pro Max of MK Ultra, where it's not this whole thing of this and that and oh, you're breaking this guy. It's just a little bit of just real simple, real easy what they need to do to somebody. Possibly. Couldn't say for sure, of course. Yeah.
Well, but here's something which is sometimes I don't want to go Occam's razor, which is always misquoted, but it's even simpler than that. Here are the questions I want to ask. First of all, I'd love to sit down with old Tyler and say, first of all, you got to tell me, what the hell were you doing there? What were you doing there?
Yeah.
What did who made you go there? You drove 3 hours of this for what? What were you there for? What? I want to hear the story. We don't know. If he said, because I was supposed to meet Jerry, what? I mean, who knows what the story is? That's number one. Number two, the first thing I'm going to ask Lance is, did anybody grant you immunity? Because you were, in essence, an accomplice. You're talking to him. This guy's a wanted killer, and he's chatting with you, and you're chatting with him. So did the feds or anybody grant you immunity? Because the first thing when I call your ass on the during court to cross-examine you, the first thing I'm going to ask you was, did anybody grant you immunity? Because you're going to be saying things right now that could get you in a lot of trouble, because you aided, abetted, counseled, procured, or hired. You were an accessory, maybe even after the fact. You maybe even harbored. So that's the first. There's nothing better than when you have the government's main witness. You want to read them their rights. That's great. The jury says, what the hell's going on here? Plus, imagine this. Imagine I'm Tyler, and you're my gay, trans, whatever this guy is, okay? And by the way, you're worried about his text. He wore a fuzzy hat all the time. The hell with the writings. Look at him. He was like the world's worst trans. They go, are you a trans? Well, I wore a hat. That's it. Anyway, Jamiroquai, I'm trans. Okay. But here's the thing. Why am I talking to you? I love you. And I'm like this. Look under the tag. I left a note there. I left a note. Did you get the note? Yeah, it's me. And this guy, who is not exactly, Proust in terms of his writing style, if this isn't ChatGPT, vehicle and commas and, oh, come on. This is nonsense. This guy's on the lam. He loves this person, and he's basically, don't talk to anybody. And my Discord group, I mean, none of it makes any sense.
Yeah, to write a note and then also explain the note in your text messages is pretty interesting. It's an interesting thing,
See, the first thing I would have done is, if I'm Lance and I'm going to say, I don't know who you are. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Hello. I hang up. It's like, and then how do you authenticate these text messages? Do you go to Apple? Do I say, how do I know that message came from him to Lance saying this? Good luck. And where's the autopsy? Where's the information? What did they find in him? Plastic, fragments of lead, Do we get to see the morgue photos? I'm sorry, we got to see this. Is anybody even caring about this? Damn it, I want an answer, Colin. You got to help me. Does anybody care about this? What am I
don't know. I don't know. Yeah, it's very hard to tell. Yeah, I would love to know your opinion. If you were a part of the prosecution, would you feel like you have a solid case?
Oh, are you kidding? I would punt this thing. First, you're the jury, okay?
Yeah.
I'm going to say, we have a one-person juror here. You're the jury.
Okay.
We are not able to connect the rifle that was found, this Mauser 98 30-06, to anything shot or fired, okay?
Okay.
Like this lint brush cannot be linked. So this lint brush is as relevant as this rifle. They could have made it a flamethrower, a machine gun. Those weren't linked also. How do I make that connection? So what did he fire? What did he shoot? We don't know. Number two, there's no confession. So you're the juror. Okay, Mr. Genius, find him guilty. And you're going to say, with what? Come on. You watch Sean Hannity? Come on. I'm serious. Where's the evidence? They're going to... It just it kills me.
So then do you actually think that this kid could walk? Do you actually think he could walk?
In the real world? Absolutely. Absolutely. It may not even get to the jury because the judge is going to say, counselor, prosecutor, Colin, where's the evidence? Seriously. You want these people to find him guilty with what? Intuition? He looks weird. I don't understand any of it. And that's what we know here. Anyway, in the meantime, how long before TPUSA goes belly up? Notice how I just changed the subject.
In the meantime, because it's definitely going to happen before the trial's even done.
Who's giving money? Who? Seriously?
Honestly, right now, it's just straight up billionaires who are investing in, the
what?
propaganda angle that they have access to through Turning Point, which is starting to dull more and more. As these kids walk away from the chapters and president, vice president, as that keeps happening, even the billionaires, even the Adelson, whatever would have you, even they're going to be like, I don't see the value in this. The value in Turning Point is that they have the youth.
Yes,
that is the value. As the youth starts to leave, and the other value was that they're starting this Club America thing. So they have the colleges, universities, and the high schools. As that starts to dissolve, I don't see any super rich, small country in the Middle East or billionaire that is, not quite America first. I don't see them investing in Turning Point.
America first. The cojones of these people. America first. Can you imagine if I said to you, if you were, God forbid, in a coma and you wake up, I said, Colin, you're not going to believe this. What? France, they got Trump wrapped around his finger. Why? We're bombing Libya. Why? Because of France. Why? Because France has a hard on for Libya. France. Why? France. Yeah. We're going to send, they want us to, they give billions of dollars to France. That's stupid. I know. What about America first? I go, oh, I'm sorry. Did I say France? No, I meant Israel. Oh, wait a minute. Hold it. Wait a minute. If Candace Owens, think about this. If Candace Owens, God forbid, I'm not giving anybody any ideas, said instead of Brigitte Macron, okay? Brigitte Macron, let's say instead it was Bibi's wife or something.
Oh, yeah. Candace
would disappear in the middle of the night. You just wouldn't say, you say, you can't do that.
Yeah, her microphone would blow
It's
up.
like, not only that, her home would dematerialize. What a lot of young people are saying, and I've had them, and that's virtually everybody that I know is younger than me. They say, "Can you explain this to me?" I said, "It's a long story. What is this? What is this big deal?" It's like, why don't we treat everybody the same? Oh, you poor knave. Why don't we treat? No.
Knave.
How do you do this? How do you explain this insanity? What are we doing here? I mean, I thought Vietnam was weird, and it was. This is. Do you have any? When you talk to people, I know nothing about whether you have kids or nothing, but friends, relatives, young people. Do they ever say, "Help me with this"? What do you tell them?
Oh, about this situation?
Yeah,
like the turning point situation, or just
turning point, war, foreign, just politics. How about the fact that we're having missing all of these missing scientists involved with UFOs and UAPs, all of them, and we're walking around with a thumb up our arse. Not even. We don't react to anything. What are we doing?
Yeah. That's a really good point. We don't react to anything. Yeah, that's very true.
What
very
happened?
very true. Charlie Kirk was the first like glimmer of hope where a lot of people reacted all at once. People always boil it down to like Candace and Baron and Ian and Coach and Lionel. Like that's where I see all the tags and everything, and Danks and this person. But I mean, a lot of people kind of activated when this whole thing happened. They didn't want to let it go. They didn't want to act like nothing happened. But yeah, you're right. People don't. I mean, and when it comes to the scientists, I mean, I was covering that in my members only with my wife. We were playing a clip of Trump, and Trump's just like, there's a lot of scientists, there's many scientists. I don't know these guys. We'll look into it. We'll let you know. We'll let you know what's going on.
Listen,
that was it. That was it.
People are looking at me like, well, what about Trump? It's like, don't look at me. I'm not telling you what to do. First of all, you pick Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, Hegseth, these guys, and Bobby Kennedy. All these people want to do is do push-ups and pull-ups like little children. Like, what the hell's going on here? George Marshall couldn't have done a push-up to save his life. Patton wasn't exactly in the best shape either. These were the greatest military minds ever. J. Edgar Hoover. Can you imagine Kash Patel sitting there in a ballroom and they're ignoring him? Like, how did you pick these people? Kristi Noem.
Yeah.
Alina Habba, I don't, what is this president doing?
All loyalists.
What is going?
Loyalists.
Pardon me, what?
They're all loyalists. That's why he picked them. They're just people who he thought would just do exactly what he said. And they have.
Loyalists are okay to an extent, but they seem like if they're on TV, if he thinks they look hot, or if they have some kind of bravado or something, I don't understand. Because let me tell you something, for the first time in a long time, I'm going to vote third party. I never thought I'd say that. These parties, tell me, how do you define yourself politically?
Me?
You.
I get told by people who are like your age, I say I'm conservative. Then when they talk to me, they say, no, you're like they call it a classic liberal, like what a liberal was 25 years ago.
Also, Thomas Jefferson.
They say that's what I've been explained by many people who are much, much older than I am. And I always find that very interesting because, you'll talk about being conservative, but then you'll say what, you believe. And it's like, to these older people who have been around longer, they go, oh, well, that's just being liberal. That's what that is, so that I see myself as a very Christian conservative person, very much so. That's how I identify. But also, I have this thing where I talk about it all the time on the show. You can be biased. Everybody's biased, but you can't be blind, right? Yeah. I noticed that when you get too far into the Republican or the liberal, Democrat side, I noticed that there is a I guess it's called a willful blindness that takes place. When you're on the side of like a Benny Johnson. I love Benny Johnson. I like Benny Johnson's content. I learn a lot from seeing his show. But no matter what the president or Republicans are doing, he is just going to be right on the side. I call him a company man. He's like a company man.
Well,
He's
makes you
going to
wonder
win.
who's you know what I mean? You know what I mean? He's no fool. How about that guy? What's his name? Who's that guy? Tim Pool?
Yeah,
I don't even listen to him. I swear to God, I don't. You know what? You know, Benny, and Benny's got it. Benny's got a lot of stuff to answer. They're coming after Benny. Benny and the Jets. Benny, when you were growing up, who were your heroes? When did politics come into your life? What were some of the moments where you
heroes is always comedians. Yeah. There's no president that's a hero or anything like that, or political figure. It's always there's no civil rights activists. It's always been comedians.
Who are the comedians? Who are the heroes?
Chappelle, because it got real. It got outside the comedic landscape, and it became very real. And he stepped away from that money. And then it was one of the first times for me, because I was young when that was happening, first times for me where I saw the media activate and attack him. But then, because of people like James Lipton, Dave Chappelle even talked about this with James Lipton. Because of those type of interviews, you got to see him respond. You see that more now because there's so many podcasts. Someone will just be like, I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to address this. You didn't see it that much back then. So he's actually able to address it. He was actually able to say, like, oh, Neil Brennan was my partner. And when they asked him if I smoked crack, he said, I don't know, but I spend 20 hours a day with this guy. Why would he say I don't know? It was like a real outing of like what was happening with the media. Weird interview with Oprah. This crazy, monumental interview with James Lipton. And then you're seeing him fade into darkness, where if you're like me and you think he's the greatest comedian of all time, then you're looking for his sets. And you're finding that this guy who's at the top pinnacle of everything is doing comedy sets in a basement in the UK. Like literally, you can find him at the peak of his fame where he disappears on a farm in Ohio. You can see him doing sets in a place in the UK in a basement where they won't even let him smoke. They're acting like he's not Dave Chappelle, And you're seeing that happen. And then you're seeing him go to California. He does some sets at the Laugh Factory and at the Improv, and he does like a 4-hour set. And, there's all, and you're hearing him speak his mind in these 4-hour sets. They're not sets. They're really funny, but he's doing a podcast, and he's also kind of giving a speech. He's talking, he's addressing.
He's also a prophet. I did stand up for years. And one time I opened up for the guy way before him was Dick Gregory. Dick Gregory was a monster.
You opened for Dick Gregory?
Oh, Dick Gregory, Mort Saul, Robert Klein. Yeah, absolutely. It was like the leader, not the leader, but the sugar. Oh, yeah, in New Jersey. And knew him and talked to him. And I've never seen anything. And Mort Saul, these people were killers because they were the first ones at the same time of Lenny Bruce, all of us, and Will Rogers and 2 other people as well. These people, they weren't just telling jokes like Milton Berle. They were critical. And what was interesting was that, and Chappelle came along. And what is interesting right now is where he is organic. He also, by the way, is very good because he's one of the best. His deliveries are incredible. Some people are just masterful in terms of getting the point out. He does this. One time, you're going to love this. I worked at a place in New York called the Cutting Room. And one night, after I was done, Dave Chappelle came in with a bunch of people, and he tried his material out, and he works on it. And you got to give everybody your cell phones and put them in bags and this, and it was packed. So I told people I opened for Dave Chappelle, but it was after I was there, he came in, and he knows the craft. When you see him, he's worked out everything. He seems very off the cuff. Everything's worked out. He knows the pauses. He knows exactly what he's doing. Mm-hmm. Louis C.K. is like that too. Whether you like him or not, he's masterful. He knows how to tell a story perfectly. Go back and listen to old Dick Gregory. Dick Gregory was, oh my God, he opened at the Playboy Club, Carlin. And as soon as they start to traverse, they go from comedy and yuck and that old time to stuff that is topical. Because today, that's where I think young people, comedians are now, this is your prophet. This is your, and what's interesting too, people that you don't think are necessarily prophetic or oracular, as we say, the guy who I think is brilliant, if you listen to him, is Theo Vaughn. And he's like the Christ child.
He has all those beats when he's on stage. He knows all those beats, all those weird stories and stuff.
But even when he tells, he's this. So that's it. Now, also, where is this going to go? When people say, Colin, what do you do? What do you do? Are you an analyst? Are you a commentator? Are you a what do you call this thing? Do you ever have people think like you're talking to a baby monitor, like CB radio? They don't know what the hell this is. Do you talk to people? Is it yes? Do you? Well, do you ever think about going into radio? No. What do you call yourself? What do you do?
I say I make videos. I try not to build it up into anything more than it is. I say I make videos. I don't say I'm a political commentator. I don't say anything of the sort. I say that I make videos, and that's it. That's been the goal for 12 years now, is to make videos, to be able to support my family doing it, and that's what I do now. So I just say I make videos. I really don't like the idea of building myself up into anything more than I actually am. I just I make videos. That's it. Like, I could say comedian. I would, like, if you asked me if I was a journalist or if I was an analyst or anything like that, I would say I'm more comedian than anything. That's the goal. Like, in my whole thing that I do, the goal is this live show, this show that I do live, this broadcast that I do this on stage. That's the goal for me. And I tour America. That's what I want. I want to take this show that I do, and I want it to be live, where I am doing stand-up, and also the thing that you see in the podcast that I do, where I am pulling up, maybe not clips, but maybe I'm pulling up a picture. Maybe I'm talking about things that are topical, and I'm bringing it up in a visual way, because that's how I identify the most, learning in a visual way. And then I riff on it the way that I do in my podcast, but I'm doing it on stage, and I'm giving people a stand-up type of experience. And there will be an opener, and there will be me doing my thing. And that is the ultimate goal. That is what I want more than anything, more than millions of subscribers and all of that stuff. I want to be able, I've been watching these guys since I was 6 years old. I want to be one of those guys. Yeah. I already do stand up. I already do it.
Have you done it? Have you done stand up on stage?
Yeah. Many times. I worked in film and television, so that took me off the path for a while, because when you're working film and television, you're working 18-hour days. There's no time to get on stage, really, especially when you have a girlfriend and you want her to be your wife, and you're juggling too many things. So it took me off the path for a while. But yeah, I've done stand up a lot, and that's the thing I want more than anything.
Do people ever look at you and say, "Oh, I know this guy. Yeah, he's one of these urban comics," and they say, "No, don't listen to him," because people will pigeonhole you right away. And do you ever have a club owner or somebody say, "Hey, listen, man, I appreciate your politics, but this doesn't. This is not. This is. Can you do your good?"
I haven't. Well, I have. I shouldn't say I never have, but I haven't got a chance to have this new iteration of my comedy. And it's a very unique thing, because this new stage that I'm at in comedy was worked on completely on this podcast. It wasn't worked on in the clubs. It was worked on in the podcast that I do. And I haven't got a chance to make a full set of that and do that. So I've never had people come to me about politics and this and that. When I'm on stage, with the material that I have now, I'm very blue. So you've done comedy, you know what blue is. I'm a very blue. Like, I don't swear in anything on YouTube because it affects the bottom line. But when I'm on stage, I'm very blue. It's a lot of swearing. There will be a lot of talk about race. There will be, not so much about politics, but a little bit. That's why I'm working on the Trump impression, like I do, because there of course will be things to talk about politically. But no, I haven't encountered that yet. Where
what do you think about Trump?
I think I always say it. He hoodwinked me. You can go to my channel, and I have, out of the 2,000 videos that I've done, 2,500 videos I've done, you can find at least 400 where I am talking about Trump, and I am basically, via a podcast, campaigning for him. I'm telling people what all of his good traits are. I'm talking about projects, Agenda 47 that you
Right.
could find on his website. I don't know if he got rid of it. Telling people about the incredible things that he wants to do. I'm telling people why he is such a better candidate than Kamala.
Well, that's
picking
true.
apart Kamala, you know.
My lint brush is a better candidate. But let me ask you, is this the first time anybody either changed their mind or let you down? Is this the first time it's ever happened to you?
Oh, I would say to this degree, because I'm
Yeah.
all in. I've been all in on Trump for a long time, and I thought for sure when he got in office, I was like, everything he said he's going to do, he's going to be the guy of peace, and that was the thing I would talk about all the time. I'd be like, he's going to make sure there's no wars, guys. Like, this is going to be a huge thing. He might be the guy to bring peace to the Middle East, and it's just like, good.
What was the worst thing he did? What was his worst violation that he?
Well, the border he handled perfectly. He did that border thing real nice, real swift. Then you saw the mass deportations. The numbers weren't happening. And for me, because I was really, really deep into what he planned on doing, I knew he wasn't doing what he said he was going to do, because he said he was going to enact this law from the 1700s.
Yeah.
And I knew what this law would look like if he did it. It would have looked like martial law. It would have been the rounding up of people by the thousands, not like a few here and, oh, we're going to go to this place. It would have been the rounding up of people by the thousands, hundreds of thousands, and just bussing them out and flying them out. It would have looked terrible, but it's what he said he was going to do. So, I could see so many Americans going through hardships because of this open border situation, right? So I was like, okay, he's not doing what he said he was going to do there. Then the war thing happened, the I'm going to destroy a civilization. I think it just, and it was just thing after thing. It was just like, man, he said he was going to release the files.
Yeah.
He said he was going to. He said he was going to release all the JFK files. He didn't.
Oh, that's what Epstein. Oh, yeah. But Colin, wait, you throw a lot of good stuff at me. First of all, did you remember? Go back and ask if they remember President Truman, Operation Wetback. Look up Operation Wetback, okay? They were serious. He was going to talk about locking people up. In the old days, when we had the bonus riots after World War I, MacArthur said they had tents. They had American soldiers from World War I who set up tents in Washington. And General MacArthur, wasn't a general then, said he was ready to go in and machine gun these people, Americans. So I'm saying, if Tolstoy said history would be a wonderful thing if only it were true. Trump is like nothing compared to the other stuff. You talk about changing people's minds, and oh my God. But that, you know what? Get ready, because the next one that comes along is going to be the same damn thing. But here is the deal. Here is that I'm with you 100%. I don't understand the JFK. First of all, nobody's writing anything down in a file. There's no files. Epstein files, this file. Yeah, there's no file. Nobody says, hey, look, the missing bullet. It's not in there. There's no file. Sometimes he just says things that are just like, what are you talking about? But let me ask you something. Going back to your performances, what would make you the happiest? Somebody hysterically laughing, or somebody who said, man, you made me think. You changed my life. What means more to you?
Oh, someone says he changed my life. I mean, come on, that's towards that. But I mean, you're on stage. For people that don't know, you're on stage and you're killing. There's nothing like it. There's just nothing like it. There's nothing like somebody almost falling out of their chair, or you have a black crowd. Oh gosh, if you have a black crowd, they're standing up and they're running around and they're like, they're going nuts. There's just nothing like it. I think someone laughing hysterically, because I know how therapeutic that is. I can do that whole make them think thing within the podcast, right? Because it's like two things. I can do the whole make them think, make them feel good through the podcast. If I'm on stage and I make someone hysterically laugh to where they're spitting things out and they can't control themselves, I think that is.
You just want to inspire convulsions. I like that. Yeah. What do you think? Let me ask you something. I don't want to be too crazy, but I'm dead serious about this, because I've always thought about it myself. What is it that you think happens physiologically or mentally when somebody loses their mind laughing? What does that mean? What is this laughter? What are they laughing at? You, something? What have you explain this? Imagine somebody from another planet who says, Colin, this laughing thing. What is this? What
Oh
is it?
man, from
What's
another
happening in their
planet.
head? Why are they? Is it crying in reverse? Why? What?
Crying in reverse. That's funny.
I mean, because it's no, it's paroxysmic. You know, you're like, "Ah," it's a
Paris
convulsion.
is wow. That's a very big
Well, the
word. I never heard
paroxysm,
that.
you know what I mean? But I'm saying, what is it? It's like a convulsion. And I know what you mean. And when you're on a roll and you own them and you can stop and you can just look
Yeah.
and that kills them. And you're waiting yourself, wait, timing not the punchline, but I mean, I know what you mean, but
Yeah.
but also they're acting organically. They're
Yeah.
feeding off. They're not individuals. They're part of like a circuit, like a transistor or something. I don't want to get too, but it's very spiritual. I was watching a special about the decline, well, the advent of gospel music, black gospel, and what it meant, and how a lot of the people would move to Chicago and they would go into the churches and go, "What is this?" And they would do this angelic and say, "No, that's not music." Theirs was. And I love that. I love when people lose their mind collectively as part of this is Gustave Le Bon. This is crowd theory. I love it. It's
Yeah. But what's going on? I mean, when that happens, I mean, I don't know. You know, it's with me. You know, I love this when somebody tells me about a podcast and they're like, my podcast, and they say, this helped me get through the workday. Right? Because that's what I used podcasts for. I used to work dead end jobs that I absolutely hated. I mean, jobs that I would go cry in the lunchroom. You know what I mean? Go cry in a washroom in a stall. I mean, I just hated these jobs.
What was your worst job? Tell me. I got to hear this. What was the worst one? Where you'd rather rob than do this?
Man. I kind of did turn to that.
Oh, really? Is this a scoop? Maybe some unsolved B&Es in the Northeast that we should know about?
Had quite the life. But
now wait a minute. What can
Worst,
you tell me about this? Wait a minute. I like this. Do we have a moment? Do we have a come to Jesus moment?
No, I talk about it all the time. I was just a rough kid. That's all. I was a rough kid, and you know, if someone, you know, like when we were kids running around, someone had a bag of weed or something, you probably gonna get robbed. Yeah.
What changed your life?
No, but I grew up around some Italians, right? Some good guys. They were good guys. They would take care of me, and they would keep me on the straight and narrow, quote unquote. And they were always around. They were friends of my brothers, so they were older. They were like 12 years older, sometimes 10 years older, and they would always just, you know, they saw that I was running around, so they're like, okay, if he's gonna run around, like he might as well be around us, you know, instead of being off and just, you know, get locked up or something. So I would be around those guys, and they were wild guys. Did a lot of hard fed time. So they were hard dudes. And
but they had a morality even within that. That's like the group I was telling you about. I'd like to show you around here in New York. There's they may have done some things that are technically against the law, but they're very moral and you can trust them. They never hurt anybody individually. By the way, do you ever hear of Richard Pryor's routine on Live on Sunset Strip where the mafia, where he brings in the gun, he brings him back up, and they go, "Hey, Richie, come here, you."
Yeah.
Pryor was a great storyteller. Voices,
fantastic.
Told jokes. Nobody tells jokes anymore. I mean, I saw him live one time after
Richard
he did
Pryor live.
After he did Bingo Long. It was at a Highlight Fronton in Florida. And we were there, and it was with my friend. We had two white guys, and I think we were the only. I don't know, but he was after Bingo Long, and his hair was all slicked back or something. And all of a sudden, the light goes on us, and he goes, "See, you travel together too, or in packs or whatever it was together." So they spotted us out. He was wonderful. He was great. Don't ever leave out Bill Cosby too. Don't ever leave out Red Fox.
Yeah, of course.
I mean,
no, they were I guess less talked about. I guess, you know, it when it comes to the whole, you know, huge huge personalities. You know, a lot of people only remember a few people, but yeah, they were incredible. I know all this because, you know, it went from me being a kid. Yes, I would hang around these rough guys when I was like a teenager up until the point I was like 22. I was around these guys and they did have morals, and they said, you know, if you ever use this substance, we're going to break your face open. You can smoke weed, you can drink, but if you ever use this other thing, we're going to hurt you. You know, and that was like always the thing. They kept me in line. They really kept me in line. Kept me very together for the most part. And didn't want me to go to jail or anything, you know. So they would just keep me around. But before that, I would sit with my mom every single day. This is every single day. And we would just watch stand-up. We'd watch stand-up for maybe 3 hours a day. We'd watch Just for Laughs. Just for Laughs had a festival, and it was always on different episodes. We'd watch that, and then we'd watch it again. And then it would get to nighttime. And I had insomnia. My mom didn't fight it. She knew I had insomnia. Then we'd get into BT Comic View. So we would go and watch these big guys. It would be, you'd see everybody on Just for Laughs. You'd see Rogan, you'd see some Chappelle, you'd see Patrice, you'd see Bill, you'd see Louis, you'd see everybody you could think of, you know. But then you got to BT Comic View, and you'd see Cat Williams, and you'd see Shucky Ducky, and you'd see Bruce, and you'd see all of these Southern Black comedians, and they were so theatrical, throwing themselves across the stage, running on their hands, doing flips, anything they could do, sweating so much, anything they could do to get the crowd absolutely going nuts. So that was like my introduction to comedy, and probably the foundation of my comedic IQ, if I have any, would be that. I would watch that every single day. That is what made me want to be a stand-up comedian. I would watch that with my mom every single day. And, you know, bittersweet kind of thing. It was the only time I ever saw my mom laugh. It was the only
Did you ever, what did you think of, remember Def Comedy Jam? That was huge.
Yeah. BT Comic View was like Def Comedy Jam every night. It was crazy, the amount of Black wild comedians. And it was even better when there was a white one, because he was in front of a Black crowd, and it was like, how is he going to win these people over? Or be like an Asian guy, and it's like, how is he going to win these people over? Because Black crowds don't play around. Black crowds grab you and throw you out of the club if they have to.
The whole thing of the Apollo, you know, with that Sandman or whatever that. So I find that very, very interesting. And also it's going back to what you said initially, you know, people sometimes will misdirect comedy, and they'll say, well, it's really not that important. Let me remind people of something. Everybody knew about Bill Cosby. By the way, Bill Cosby, when he was absolutely legendary, I Spy, he broke so many barriers. He was, I mean, nobody, it may not sound like much, but with Bill, with the Bill Culp or whatever on I Spy and others, he was huge. But for years, they knew all about the fact that he would knock people out. Women in tranquil, they called them Mickeys, and they did this at the Playboy Club. And they knew it for years.
Yes, exactly.
Remember how the story broke? 2016 in Philadelphia, a comedian named Hannibal Buress said,
yeah,
and an off-the-cuff reference, everybody knows about Bill Cosby, somebody had a phone when phone 2016 recorded it. Don't ask me why. It went, and that's what brought him down for years. But in an obscure comedy club in Philadelphia, Hannibal Buress brought down Bill Cosby.
Yep.
Not the FBI, not a grand jury, not Geraldo Rivera. No. But this. So the power of this is incredible. And by the way, when people laugh at something, did you know that at the fall of the Soviet Union, they were very worried about this. They we got big problems. And it wasn't Reagan per se, but the KGB used to go out and listen to jokes, and they would come back and report to their handlers what people are joking about, because a joke will tell you what the population is thinking. Yeah. And they would have to recite jokes to like the Politburo, these killers, Stalin, and he goes, tell us a joke. He says, are you sure? I mean, talk about a tough crowd. And they're reading these jokes. And that told them where the country was going by virtue of what they found funny. So
Wow.
comedy is a barometer. It's not just, it's serious. And I think as far we don't have Aristotle and Socrates anymore. We have comedians. And I think Dave Chappelle is today's, in some respect, he is Aristotle. He's Socrates. He's critical.
Yeah. Louis C.K. as well. You said, like, no matter what you think of Louis C.K., like my top two are definitely Dave Chappelle and Louis C.K. 100%. 100%. I mean, I Eddie Murphy is there, but he would be in there more if he actually, kept going. But I mean, for two guys who just do, they both kind of do surreal, interesting, thought-provoking. They're the top to me. I don't see anybody who tops either of those guys, quite honestly. I love Bill Burr. I love Bill Burr's older stuff.
Yes.
The passion, the fire that he had, you could tell it was like a guy who like just found himself comedically, and he was just kind of letting loose, and he was just like, I'm just gonna say whatever I want. I mean, he had so many hilarious bits, but another one that's like close to my heart, because I just remember him when I was a kid, and I remember it always just be ridiculously funny, was Harlan Williams. It would always just be ridiculously funny. He'd just be like, slap my mother and call me Susan. I'd be like, what? I can't even believe this is comedy. Like, you just get to say that on stage, and like everybody's laughing, and he's doing the silent thing, and he looks all goofy. He's a huge one for me, but it's always been Chappelle and Louis for me.
But I think, and also I don't want to invoke politics, but he's conservative. The stuff that he's saying, he went after. Listen, the stuff he's saying, this trans business, the trans stuff, the thing that got people the most, and I think you understand this, was they will say, you know what? Because I'm from the South. I'm from Florida. Not Florida, Florida. And they will say, Colin, I don't know diddly squat about Gaza or Hausa or nothing. I'll tell you one damn thing. Well, if you're born with a pecker, you're a man. If you don't have one, you're a woman. That's it. Case closed. And that was the beginning. And this became, when they asked Ketanji Brown Jackson Brown, can you define a woman? And she couldn't. So J.K. Rowling, and here comes Chappelle. And he immediately went right for it and said whatever, kind of gave people, it's okay for you to think this. Remember when he went after Juicy Smellit? One of the greatest, that twist where you thought he was sympathetic. If Chappelle said it's okay if he called bullshit, it's okay.
Yeah, definitely.
He's like the traffic cop. It's okay. This is okay. I mean, he's and maybe it's because he's older. Maybe, who knows?
I think it's just because he's masterful. Like the way we were talking about Candace being like the Stanley Kubrick of podcasting. People hit a certain stride. Everybody hits whatever stride they're going to hit. Maybe their master era at different times. And I think he hit his, a while ago. And
did you see Eyes Wide Shut? You know the Kubrick thing, right? Eyes Wide Shut, the class. Yeah. Okay, and you know the story about obviously the connection to him with landing on the moon. Yes, and recently, his daughter. So Kubrick is. Let me tell you, this guy was very. We'll never get to the end of that, but it just so happens that lo and behold, after this happens, he meets his maker. I have kept you on, so you are a gentleman and a scholar. Don't mean this. You come across. I can tell you're a decent guy. You're somebody I'd want to hang out with. You're not, you can't hide this. You're a good guy, a decent person. You're a genuinely nice person. You're not kidding around. This is who you are. Some people you can tell. And by the way, for those people, I don't want to say this, but sometimes when you meet people and they go on like before, like me, like a dumbass, I'm sending you the wrong link and you're very kind. So we're kind of chatting. I knew right away when nobody's looking, you're like this. Sometimes you'll talk to people, they're like, how you doing? I go, oh my God, who's this? And then as soon as it's showtime, then they're on. It's like, I've met the people.
I've heard of that before. I have a friend who's been a comedian for a long time, and he's told me about a few comedians that people know that are like that. And I find it very interesting. You know who was a great guy that you would love? Richard Belzer was phenomenal.
Great guy, very funny. Robert Klein was my hero, a child of the 50s. That was it until he found out he hated my politics. And imagine Dave Chappelle telling you, "You're an asshole."
Yeah, he might. I don't know. Like he has some conservative things, but I think I might be more conservative than he is.
No, but I met my hero on many occasions, and he did not particularly like what he thought my politics was. Because I didn't hate Trump, he thought I endorsed everything. Because I didn't have TDS, because I didn't want him to be, crucified and taken away in chains, he thought I somehow. So I thought, okay, because you're going to meet people like that, because if you don't pass that litmus test, they think you're some Trumpy or something.
Yeah. It's sad to meet anybody, especially a hero, through the eyes of what their politics are. I would hope to not have that type of encounter. Like I met Joey Diaz once quickly, but I would have never thought to think about politics or his politics or even put mine on display. I don't think it's time for that when you meet. I don't think it's time for that when you meet anybody right off the bat. But definitely not a hero. I mean, that would just be terrible.
Well, yeah. Well, see, sometimes when they get older, they get angry. And it's weird. Sometimes, I always thought that, when you age, I think wisdom should only take over, and you don't take things as seriously, and you appreciate things. It should kind of lighten you up. These people are different. They're like angry. Maybe because he see death around the corner. I don't want to even get into this stuff. But my friend, you're aces in my book, and I don't like anybody. Right? Most people I meet, I'm a misanthrope. People they let me down. Colin, you know how it is. I gotta deal with this. Have you ever been betrayed by friends or forgotten?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I say it all the time. Me and my comedian buddy. Great guy. He's been a huge inspiration to me in comedy. My buddy Kevin Soldo, and we always say, like, as you find out about the Diddy parties and this thing and files and this, we always say there's no one to look up to. There's no one to look up to. The more you find out about people, whoever it is that you look up to, you start realizing there's no one to look up to. We talk about it all the time. It's like more and more you just see the people who you think are heroes, and I don't know, man. Chappelle is held up quite well, I would say. He's held up quite well. He is not folded in any regard that I can see so far. A lot of people will talk smack. I got the Rogan picture behind me. A lot of people talk smack about Rogan and say that he is very co-opted or he's compromised, but and now he knows the whole administration. He's meeting up and getting executive orders signed. So I don't know. Well, that's the thing. What's wrong with that? But also it's like,
let me tell you something. Do you know some of the most powerful people? I mean, monsters. And people don't understand this. Bob Hope could start wars if he wanted to. He was bigger than you don't know how big. See, there's nothing like that. I'm going to tell you the biggest star ever. And you're not going to believe this. Bigger than the Beatles, bigger than Charlie Chaplin, bigger than anybody else. You're not going to believe this. Pound for pound. It's like that was the Sugar Ray Robinson, pound for pound, the greatest, which he was. Yeah. Bing Crosby. Bing Crosby owned radio, movies, and sheet music. He was a god. I mean, he could do anything. They loved him. And I look back and Martin and Lewis, which I never understood that was funny, Milton Berle created the television industry. The Philco people had to make TVs because of him. And he does nothing. I can't even understand why it's funny. But remember, these are comedians. Gene Autry he was a cowboy star, but he owned California, bought every piece of real estate there was. So historically, Will Rogers, you know who Will Rogers' best buddy was? Mussolini. This is really, I mean, he literally, there's never met a man he didn't like. So what I'm saying is, don't ever let anybody fool you. Comedy, whenever you go out there and people come to see you because they like you, They laugh because remember, they're not going to laugh at you or what you're saying unless they like you. If I could bring in somebody you can't stand, he could tell the funniest joke. You're not going to laugh under any circumstances because it means you like them. I've had juries before. They were cracking up. I'm thinking, I've got it. They must like me. They must trust me because it's trust also. They like you. Yeah. They're paying you. They're parking. They're getting a sitter or whatever it is. They're coming to see you, and they like you. You can't get any affirmation like that. Restaurants don't get that. Preachers don't get that. No. It's a very important. Where can we see you? When are you going to? Are you ever in this area? Are you going to be touring?
My top places are when I look in the analytics is New York, of course, and then LA and Houston. So when it comes to actually like setting dates to do places, those would be the 3 places I would go to first. To see if I can, fill a little venue, maybe 100, 200. I do like the intimate type of crowds, it's like 200 people. I like the idea of that because I do have this little notion. I don't know if it's possible, but I do have this little notion that after the comedy is done, being able to not just like a meet and greet talk with people, but to hear what the people are thinking. It would be cool to be able to film a kind of town hall after you're done the comedy to hear what people are thinking. Now, you brought up a very interesting thing, whereas, they were looking at the jokes to see what the temperature was of the country, what people were thinking just based on the jokes. I think that's true. But then there's also the voice of the people and hearing what they think. How do they feel about the administration so far? How do they feel about just in America in general? How is it making them feel? Do they feel like they've been heard? Do they feel like there's a foot on their neck that's just like grinding it in, like there's some kind of cigarette butt? Like, how do they actually feel? I think that would be a really good thing to capture on video and get people to actually talk about.
Let me know if ever you're around this area because I know a lot of people here. And believe it or not, it's harder sometimes. I played a lot of places here. Caroline's, when Caroline's was here, where the greatest venues were in Jersey. There was a place called Rascals in West Orange. Kiddison played there. Everybody, that was the greatest comedy club ever. Yeah. There's places on Long Island, and there's a lot of places that it's easier for people to get to, and driving an hour and a half is nothing for here. It's like, okay, that's no problem. But there's a real market for that. And you have more people who know who you are and like you than you will ever know who are in this area.
Yeah. Well, let me
know how I can help you. I'm serious. I'll connect you. I definitely want to see that.
That would be great. That would be great.
And for you to film it afterwards, to do like a post-mortem where you're sitting and saying, now tell me, let's talk about this stuff. Who's ever done that? Nobody.
Yeah. It's well, because how we have this weird thing that's happening in stand-up where it's like a guy just has a lot of TikTok followers and then he just starts doing stand-up just because they know it's like another stream of income. But I'm actually a seasoned podcaster. I've been at this whole audio video thing for a very long time, but I'm also very much a student of comedy and I understand stand up and how it should be. And we don't usually have a lot. We're at a point where we're going to see more of that as time goes on, as people my age get older and want to invest in both sides of things, but you haven't had that before. So, you brought something up, which is very, very interesting. In the 80s, I think, I don't know. All of a sudden, there was like Todd Friedman's improv of the up. By the way, the original improv is right off of 8th Avenue, right here on the west side where I am. This is where everybody started from. And then Roddy was on the east side, but they had a lot of people who were there, and they did their things, and it was the place. They still have the wall and all that. But once that happened, all of a sudden, people said, wait a minute, this is interesting. So they opened up hoo-hoos and ha-has and hee-hees and these local satellite, and everybody wanted to be a comedian. And they thought, hey, I can do this. I'm kind of quirky, and I'm kind of, And they said, well, go out and do this. Go out and do this. My very first venue ever standing up was at the big room at the Claridge in Atlantic City. I'd never done it in my life. I did over an hour. And I thought, that was what you're supposed to do. I thought an hour, and I played I did everything. Bluegrass, I did everything.
And I thought, okay, I hope. And somebody says, these young comics would sometimes say, listen, do you mind if I can I go? I can do. I said, sure, obviously. He says, I can do a tight 5. I said, what the hell is that? 5 minutes. 5 minutes. I said, it takes me 5 minutes to say my name. They worked a year on doing 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And I thought, nobody told me. And I said, you mean I'm doing an hour? Oh, so try it. Have somebody go in front of a mirror and tell people a story that you've said a million times, and don't lose them, and know what to listen for. And it's funny, when you're into the same place, the audience acts the same. There's a pause, then they laugh. And if you stop, it's like doing matinees, doing Broadway. Wow. Every time the laugh. You've done this before. I had one time I got there early and I saw these acts do like 2 different sets, identical. Mm-hmm. But they were so unique and so well polished. They sounded new, but they were identical. It's a craft. It's hard. It's not, and the worst is if you're an opener, they don't know who you are.
Yeah. Yeah. That's always tough.
It's really tough. Anyway, my dear Coach Colin, when I've got a link for you in the introduction. When are you on? How can I thank you? Can I pay you? Is there anything you can? Would you like a lint brush? How can we follow you? What do you want us to know about you?
I definitely, I just Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. EST to 1 p.m. EST. I guess that'd be 9 a.m. CST to noon CST, depending on where you're at.
3 hours.
Yeah. My shows. Yeah, I do 3 hours. I'm really trying to work the muscle for stand-up. That's why it helps so much, because you got to think people are doing the tight 5. And it's not that they want to do the tight 5 in stand-up. You get into a place, there's 50 comics, everybody's name's on the list. Do 5 minutes. If you do 5 minutes and 30 seconds, everybody says, F you. What are you doing? You're throwing everything off. And if you do 4:30, you don't even come back. So, of course, they're doing the tight 5. How many comedians get to work the jaw muscle and the comedy, the brain firing muscle for 3 hours, 5 days a week? Not a lot. So
look at Baron, who's an Iron Man, who's doing like 4. And by the way, the next time you should do something, you should go into talk radio. I started my thing was in talk radio, which is weirder. It's podcast sort of, but with stop and news, traffic, and weather and commercials, and then back again, pick up where you were, and then stop, and they keep going, and then take calls. And this is like, put it this way. You've ever done the last time I was at the cutting room, I gave people cards.
Yeah.
I said, here, pass out cards. They love to do it. Now remember, here's the trick. You've got your own cards. Here's your own questions, but people love to do it. Wow, he's taking my call. Well, yeah, some are good, some aren't. And then you get stuff written in blood or in crayon, you realize this is not good. But nobody ever does this. But imagine doing participation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And and then throwing you off, and then all of a sudden, this moment comes. The guy who's not paying attention. There's nothing like being on the air, and you go to a line, and the guy's snoring. He's asleep. It's the greatest. You haven't lived. One time I was doing morning drive on WABC in New York, and the board op says, don't go to line 5. I said, why? He said, he's snoring. He's asleep. I said, what are you, nuts? I said, bring it up. So we had snoring throughout the whole show, like a bed, low enough you can hear it, through the commercials, traffic, weather. I was talking to a congressman. He says, what the hell's that noise? I said, it's the guy snoring. Don't worry about it. Anyway, through the whole show.
That's incredible.
So you haven't met. So a program director says, you do realize he was sleeping? I said, yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. He said, why did you do this? I said, in radio, there's this thing, TSL, time spent listening. You have cum, number of people listening, but you want people to stay on for a long time. Who is going to bail out now? You want to see if this guy wakes up. People
True.
were waiting for the whole show. And then you haven't met the morons, because if you're in stand-up comedy, you're the boss. Wait till you get a program director or somebody who doesn't know anything, who's an expert. Oh, that's another story. But radio is the next one.
You know what's funny? There is a similar thing that happens in streaming, because there's a lot of streamers, a lot of young guys who will do like an hour, or 24 hours of streaming. And sometimes they will fall asleep. They'll be in a chair like this. And eventually, because they're just looking at the chat, eventually they'll just go like this. And everybody takes the opportunity. They go, oh, this guy's sleeping. They start sharing it everywhere. So this guy's asleep, and he's never had more people watching him in his life. And there's 50,000 people, and they're all just sitting there watching this guy sleep, because it's the most ridiculous thing ever, because they're locked in, like you said, because they want to see what happens when this guy wakes up. They want,
and there's no way, he can do it again, because you're doing it again. I like sometimes God bless people who start. I don't want to talk about bad ones, but there are some who are so bad they're good. Do you ever see somebody who starts off like they're too low and they say, "Thank you very much"? It's like they're down here. It's like, move your camera. Or they'll say, "Hi guys." Everybody's got to say "guys." Hi guys. Hi guys. This Trump. What do you say? Huh? I mean, they say, "Oh, I love this." I used to call Canadian talk radio. Canadians are historically, passive. Remember the old expression, how do you get 100 Canadians out of the pool? By asking them to get out of the pool. They just do whatever you say. Anyway, so I called this guy up one time. I was like, okay, there, we're good morning, Ottawa. And I said, okay, should we pass the budget for the school board? So I called up, and I was a caller. That's how I got into talk radio. And I had 3 rules: be the first caller, set the tone. Number 2, never talk about the subject. Whatever they're talking about, never talk about it. And number 3, when at all possible, insult the host family. Piss the guy off, and he's got 3 hours to go. And all right. So this poor guy says, okay, let's go to a guy here. His name is Colin there. And I would tell the board up, I love this show. Put me on. This is the best show ever. Oh, hang on there. Okay, there. This Canadian. So they'd go to me. Okay, let's go to Colin. And whatever I said, you got a lot of nerve. You suck. I'd rather suck a hospital mop than listen to this crap. Who the? And they just sat there. And they go, okay. I said, don't give me this okay stuff. Damn it. Grow a pair. Say something.
Wow.
And I loved it. So I hung up, of course, and just waited. And the whole show was, can you believe that guy there was? And haven't you heard like bad? Did you ever have in your town a bad public access? Remember public access years ago? Like these people who didn't know what they just gave them a couple of minutes. They would talk about,
Yeah, of course.
Give me bad. If you can send me any bad ones, let me know.
Yeah, there's all sorts like that. That's so funny that you do that. So you're just trolling these guys.
Oh yeah. Are you? Oh, absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. But sometimes they would troll me. Sometimes people would call up because you don't understand. People they're not very good at this. And the number one learned human the human fear is, of course, swallowing hair. No, I'm kidding. It's speaking in public. So they're kind of nervous, so they don't know what to do. So one time, this was so long ago, we're talking about the morning after pill, about the spontaneous abortion pill. It was this pill that caused abortion. It was the whole show was about an abortion. Abortion. Okay, fine. So that ended a little early. I said, there's one more call. I said, let me get this old lady. Very nice lady. She goes, yes, I just have one question. This is after an hour of abortion. Is there any negative effects on the child? So what I did was I told the board up, I said, just cut. Go right to just nothing. Just let that ring. No music, no nothing. Somebody heard me. Last story. You can't, you can cuss. And by the way, you're right about cussing. Use it very sparingly. Whenever it's a substitution for wit, it's not good. Mm-hmm. We were live one time, afternoon drive. Everybody's listening. Very popular show, biggest show. And this poor board operator was engineer. He pushed this button. And they used to have like cart machines, like an 8-track. If you can imagine that. Ask your parents. So he pushes this button and he pushed it. And the most important light, the most important button in a studio is the on-air light, because you want to know when your mic's hot.
Of course.
So this guy hits this button and there's nothing. And there's supposed to be a sounder. Bah, 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 and he hit it. Well, what he hit was the microphone. But he couldn't see it because there was no light. It was behind him. Don't ask me why. So this is what you heard. F, G, D, F, S, F, go, go. What the F? Live. And the newsman says, okay, today, rebel insurgents, F. I know. He was trying to work it in. He says, and the lottery numbers are 5, 15, F. I know. I didn't get it either. They ran in. They said, did that go in the air? Did that go in the air? I said, yeah. And the poor woman, the secretary, she comes in with this headgear. She says, is somebody saying, people are calling us? So the general manager says, don't say anything. I said, don't say anything. The guy's been yelling. He goes, okay, say something, but use your discretion. So I said, ladies and gentlemen, you're probably wondering what that was. And our board operator, Colin, has Tourette syndrome.
No.
And as you know, the Americans with Disabilities Act prohibits us. I said, now, if you want him fired, we'll do it. But I don't know if there's anything he's going to get. And he's really not that bad. And it turned it around. It was a whole thing. I was like, it's okay. My grandson. So anyway, I thought it was great until the Tourette Society got a hold of me.
Oh, no. The real Tourette's people showed up.
The real Tourette's. And what really pissed them off was I said, I have a solution for you. By the way, coprolalia, this saying dirty words, it's really, it's mostly tics and OCD. I said, but for those people who suffer from that, I said, I have a very simple solution. Move to a country where they don't understand you.
Oh, wow.
If somebody yells, merd, they goes, what is he saying? Anyway, that really pissed them off. So anyway, all of this, because you might have a troll or somebody, but you don't really get that immediate unless they try to shut you down, which during darker days, if you said anything. So I want you to go out. I want you to do talk radio. I want you to come to New York. Let me know how I can help you. You are aces.
Thank you. Yeah, I definitely want to do comedy in New York. I definitely, I have a lot of fans in New York, a lot of people who listen, and I would love to fill a venue over there and really hear what the people have to think. And then also, like do it. Like, that's my main thing is that I like I said, I've always wanted to be one of those guys. I've heard Jerry Seinfeld talk about that. And I was like, what was your aspiration when you first got on stage? And it was to be one of those guys.
Yeah.
That's been the whole thing, to be one of those guys that gets on stage and works the craft and makes the people laugh. And what's going on, like you asked before in the conversation, you asked what's going on when somebody's just laughing hysterically. Well, you've soothed them. You are soothing them. That's what you've done. Right. So somebody could come in there, bad disposition, bad day, anything like that. You are soothing them in a way that no one else can. They can't go to the masseuse and get what you're giving them. They can't go to Candace and get what you're giving them. They can't go anywhere but to a place where a guy can make them laugh, that they let you into their mind in such a intimate way that you don't control their faculties, but it's this weird thing where you're inside their mind. They are taking the ride with you. You guys you've connected in this weird way, and they get it, and they're laughing in this crazy way. And that was your objective.
You always speak about this as though it is the spiritual part of it. You're talking about almost like it's a spiritual, philosophical. You really enjoy that so much. That's you recognize the fact that they're coming to you. Again, they're paying. This is hard-earned money. A lot of them have to go to some kind of they got to get it like a sitter, and they got to park, and they got to plus there's a cover charge, and and they're saying, okay, I'm going to make a deal with you. I'm going to do my part. And they expect something, and you deliver, and they say thank you. And think about this. All you did was talk. You didn't give them any drugs. Your voice was their drug. Your thoughts were the drug. You're an
Exactly.
emollient. You're an anxiolytic. You're a,
Exactly.
you're a hypnotic. You speak by virtue of what you say. It's a wonderful, it's a tremendous responsibility. And if you
But I
do it
do,
well, it's soothing.
yeah, I do think of it in the spiritual sense because, like, when I talk about Dave Chappelle, I talk about Dave Chappelle when I had all of his stand-up sets. You know, you had them on DVD players, right? I was at the most depressed time in my life.
Hmm.
And it wasn't like it was like a few months. It was like a few years. And I played the Chappelle Show and Killing Me Softly and the set that he did at Fillmore. I played that until those DVDs didn't work anymore. I played the director's cut, I played the commentary, I played the special features. I played it all over and over and over and over again. So when I say it's soothing, when I say they let you in, it's because that's what happened with me. He actually carried me through that time where I would have to deal with all the wild stuff that I was doing and everything, but I could always come back home and play that and be soothed by what he
Hmm.
was talking about. I already
Right.
heard the jokes. I already knew what he was going to say. I already knew all the special features. I already knew Charlie Murphy's stories. I already knew it all, but I would listen to it over and over
Oh,
and over again. And it was
how about
just,
his TV show, the
yeah, that's what I mean.
the blind racist and
The
the
black,
and
white,
the and what he did was, the milkman who was the N word family,
yeah.
and it was I'm telling you, it was brilliant. Everything he did, that was something I never saw. That was next level.
Yeah. I
And
mean, because you've lived through it all, right? You've seen SCTV, you've
oh
seen In
yeah,
Living Color, Saturday Night Live, of course, Mad TV, of course. There was nothing like what he did.
Fridays.
Yeah. Yeah. Fridays. There was nothing like what he did. It was crazy.
No,
It was,
no, but also only he could do it. But Richard Pryor did it also before. I mean, I don't want to compare and contrast. He was his stuff, the scripting of it. He's a great actor.
mhm.
He really knows his part. It's harder to do. Not everybody can do this. Not everybody
Yeah.
can do it. No, I believe me. I think he's aces. Absolutely, positively aces. And he's a Muslim,
Yes. Yes.
which well, because people will always say, like, these Muslims. I tell you what, these people, they don't come here. And say, what about Dave Chappelle? Well, that's
Mhm.
different.
Yeah.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Well, that sort of thing. Anyway, listen, Colin. Thank you, my brother. You are tremendous. Thank you. Thank you. Everybody love it. How about a big hand? How about a big hand for this man? However you
Big
give a hand, I give some kind of an
big hand for
emoji.
you. Big hand for you. Thank you so much for having me on, and thank you for what you're doing.
You
And
have
I
honored me.
definitely have to have you on my show because for what I
Name
can
it.
see, I've been taking notes and I see Dick Gregory, I see James Lipton, I see Richard Pryor, I see stand up as well because I've been taking notes the whole time. People can't tell I'm pretty good at taking notes without showing it. But stand up, there's radio, there is a huge life lived.
Oh,
So
let me tell
I
you
know
something.
about
When
this.
you mentioned SCTV, when I was a kid, my heroes, Mike Douglas show, Ed Sullivan, and I would watch people like I knew Jackie Mason. Used to drink with Jackie. That was another one.
You
Jackie Mason,
knew Jackie Mason?
knew him, and he was something else. Was at the Friars Club a bunch of times. There were some people who were one of my great friends. I mean, great was Pat Cooper, this Italian. Oh my, go watch Pat Cooper doing a roast for the Friars Club. Watch Pat Cooper. He was a killer. Pat Cooper changed everything. He was a great friend of mine. I knew a lot of people. This one guy, Freddie Roman. These are Catskills guys. Schnorrers, I mean, not schnorrers, that's the wrong word. Machers and
Yeah.
the ones who would go out there and they would kill. I did stand up in the Catskills and watching these people, Freddie Roman, Mickey Freeman, these all the Jackies. I one time I sat with Norm Crosby and Alan King, and these, you watch them, you might think, well, they're kind of, say, watch them. They
Yeah.
have, You talk about somebody who says, I know what to do. Then the MC. But watch Pat Cooper. He did the roast for Vincent Bumpus, Big Pussy on Sopranos. Watch that one. He never wrote a note. He would be on Howard Stern and scream and yell. He was another one too, a guy who was fantastic. Rickles, I never met him, but I knew very well his friend, Regis Philbin, was a great friend of mine. And
really?
We would talk. Oh, yeah. Talk about for show business. I loved people like Charles Grodin were these people. I was on his show all the time during the OJ case. Jack Parr. Jack Parr redefined TV talk. These people in their own mind, they all had these little things that they did. So I have nothing but reverence, and they're mechanics. They know exactly what they're doing. You should have seen the night I was with Mort Saul. Mort Saul was blacklisted by the Kennedys. Mort Saul was on Playboy after with the Hugh Hefner. And I saw Mort Saul and Dick Gregory, they were getting up there in age. And Mort Saul, I thought, I don't think Mort Saul is going to make it. He was in this room. He had a red sweater and he was sitting there ready to go on. I'm thinking, oh my God, I hope he's okay. Colin, so help me God. It was like somebody just stuck a jumper cables on his balls, and all of a sudden he says, I remember this, and he killed.
Wow.
You've got to, and I'm watching off stage, and I'm watching this. Even the way they hold their mic, it's an art, it's a talent, and you've got it, my friend, because of this, your heart. You love it. So you let me know what I can do for you. Anything I can do. You're the best. You're my new best friend. Whether you like it or not, you're stuck with me.
That sounds great. That sounds great.
Buddy,
we're definitely going to talk, and we're definitely going to do a show. Let me know, because I had a list of questions, and my audience was right. They're like, Lionel will not let you ask any questions. And I was like, we'll see about that. But I have a bunch, and we're going to talk about them when you come on my show.
Please, anytime. You're the best. Thank you, sir. All the best.
Thank you so much, man.
Thank you, my friends. That was Coach Collins, my dear friends. Thank you so much. And let him go here. Thank you. You are the best. He is phenomenal. Anyway, thank you so much for this. Thank you for being with us. A nice 2 hours and 7 minutes. What a gentleman. What a scholar. What a delight. Absolutely the best. I am Colin. Go to Coach Colin. I've got the link in YouTube. Watch him. You will love him if you haven't seen him. He is tremendous. All right, my dear friends, have a great and glorious night. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your thoughts and comments. We'll see you, remember, next time. Don't forget, Monkey's dead. Show's over. Sue ya. Da-da.